Hey, hello everybody, it is indeed the Invincible 5-Boy and I'm reacting to the Final 4 Hybrids I Can Kill in Dom 2.0. Why am I doing that? I don't know, I'm bored and I'm free and I want to upload a video. Okay, I want to upload. I don't get time, but since I guess I'm free, why not? You know what I realized? I need mobile data. There is no internet in this room. So, I'm Team Arctosaur, who got eliminated, and he couldn't reach the final 8. I forgot who all are in the final 8, so I'll check it, and yeah. Hopefully you guys can hear me. And Goji Center won't be the only one talking.
Today on Goji Center, the great hybrid war takes one more step towards its climactic conclusion. Out of over 1,600 contestants, an elite squad of 16 hybrids was selected for the combative tests against the destructive menace unleashed upon the world. After the first round, this cream of the crop was cut in two, with 8 genomes kept in reserve as 8 of their compatriots proceeded on to see who will lead the effort in purging the world of this apocalyptic menace. As a refresher on today's coverage, each remaining 8 hybrids are not being against each other. Instead, each of them is evaluated based on how well they would fare in a one-on-one fight against a 2.0 in a head-to-head battle on neutral ground out in the open. No ambushes, no advantages, no setup. How they score will be based on how quickly they can end the fight, what condition they will be at the end of the 2.0 in a head-to-head battle on neutral ground out in the open. No ambushes, no advantages, no setup. How they score will be based on how quickly.
Predator Rex versus Ferropelta. Ferropelta will win. I don't think Predator Rex can do much. Like to the Indom 2.0, it's like Indom 2.0 facing another Indom 2.0 with Pangolin scales, because they're basically the same thing. And Ferropelta is like so impenetrable, and it's so heavy that you can't even push it off, which is how Indom 1.0 kills the Yankee. So I have to think it's gonna be Ferropelta. And how Ferropelta kills the Indom is by just slicing the Indom's flesh, because it's you can see those are iron enriched osteoderms, so it'll definitely cut.
They can end the fight. What condition they will?
This is tricky. I don't know. I hope Yama Brown Thorax goes. I don't want sauropods. They're just too OP. I hope, but I'm pretty sure the sauropod might
at the end of that battle, their smarts and how many fights they can pull.
Yep. I am Team Ceratops. Okay. I don't know why, but as of now, I want either Ceratops or Yama Brown Thorax.
Off a win. The second round of testing these.
I think the sauropod might win.
Champion starts now. Matchup number 1, Predator Rex versus Ferropelta.
Nice.
Either of these two could weather the storm in a closed quarters brawl with the 2.0. Be it an extended fight out in the open like an hour combat scenario.
I know your heart feels heavy, you've carried so long.
Be it an extended fight out in the open like an hour combat scenario, or a proverbial knife fight in the jungle of either getting ambushed or doing the ambush. Ferropelta can leverage a slightly greater reach thanks to its long tail when talking about singular weapons. Predator Rex, aka Vega, would certainly be able to land more hits consistently thanks to its great arm span and long upper body. Being capable of rearing up and standing as a biped, Predator Rex would also be able to turn around a lot quicker and reposition if its odious opponent tried to pull a flanking maneuver and attack it from the sides or back. Ferropelta lacks a lot of this maneuverability, meaning it would inevitably get outflanked in fights where it couldn't end the battle quickly with a precise forward attack or tail swing to the face. However, when it comes to an angle of attack, there is one important distinction between these two designs. With the Indominus 2.0 being as agile as it is, there's a good chance it's going to be able to get around and attack one of its opponents from the back. Vega's main weak spot is enemies targeting it at the tail and spine. Now, this is only a weak spot in that these areas don't have assets the Predator King can call upon to fight back. If the Indominus got it by the tail or climbed on top of it, Vega would have to shake off its opponent or try to reach and grab them to get them off. Something that would be difficult given its best weapons in its arms and teeth are all forward-facing. Ferropelta, meanwhile, has an extremely armored back and flanks. To do any meaningful damage, the 2.0 would have to go for the limbs or underbelly, both of which are low to the ground, hard to reach easily, and getting in reach to do some strikes means the 2.0 is in the awkward position of having to aim low, which can compromise its speed. And losing speed near the Ferropelta means leaving yourself open for nasty retaliation. Ferropelta may not be able to land devastating blows as easily against the nimble opponent it is pitted against, but being low to the ground and having usable weapons on both ends means any major angle it's attacked from does have some kind of answer. And a horn jab to the thigh, bite to the leg, or tail swing to the knees or ankles of the Indominus 2.0 is going to compromise its speed greatly. And when that speed and agility keeping the 2.0 in the fight is gone, it would be...
I forgot you asked this. I think this is Emily's step. And oh my god, this paleo art is amazing. It's like not too realistic, but not too cartoonish. And it's just great overall. Okay?
Curtains. Predator Rex absolutely can throw down with the best of them, and would greatly benefit from working alongside Ferropelta in a sword and shield combination. But for now, its ally proceeds on as the bulwark against the horde, with the shield leading so the sword can strike best. Matchup number 2, Armored Titan versus Caranoceratops Barbharicus. This contest between the Armored Titan and Caranoceratops is one between arms and armored living tanks of war. Both excel in some of the same categories.
I thought it was against Shantu or Yama Brontorax, but it wasn't. The Shant, I think, is going against Monstrotherium. Then I don't know.
While their differences allow them to accentuate their skills in others. Both are built to weather an onslaught of attacks by their opponents, with armor that is both extremely resilient but also allowing for good flexibility to give them the reaction speed needed to effectively make deadly contact with the 2.0. The core differences that define how they were scored in this competition came down to their weaponry and fight methodology. Caranoceratops has numerous weapons front to back, but its best assets are undoubtedly its Triceratops-like horns. With a direct charge, lunge, or gore attack, these horns could potentially impale a 2.0 in a direct hit with enough momentum put behind it. Its high weight does mean charges would be limited compared to a normal Triceratops, but if conditions are right, these kinds of weapons just might be the best at penetrating through the crocodilian armor of its opponent. Striking the chest with those horns would be a one-shot kill if they had enough force to impale the 2.0. The Armored Titan, meanwhile, has a devastating weapon of its own with very different attributes. While its claws, sheer weight, and even neck could be suitable weapons, its tail would be its best defense and offense, resembling the whip-like extremity.
Only place to kill or attack it is its head, which is way too high up. And but I don't know. I don't think Carano will win. I want Carano to win.
Of a Diplodocus, which could be potentially swung around at speeds exceeding 60 miles an hour. Even just half that speed with the kind of armor on its body would make this tail a shredding bludgeon. A clean hit to the face or limbs could break bone and snap joints.
That is... I like this. This can be the thumbnail. Or I don't know, maybe I can make the thumbnail some Caranoceratops photo, because that is, of course, my favorite.
Distinction is that while the whiptail has much more reach and would...
Both the Pseudosuchians couldn't make it to the final 8. That is so sad. I am Pseudosuchian bias. I don't know why, but I'm Pseudosukian bias. Okay, I want Pseudosukians to get more attention. But now I have to go for either Yama Brontorax or Carano. I'm more leaning in Carano. When everything was first announced, I was Yama, but I'm now in Carano's side. Let's go.
Its hits much more easily than the horns. It would need to hit multiple times or strike a specific vital to be a clean kill. Remember, we're talking about a hybrid with the base genome of a T-Rex, an animal that had one of, if not the most robust skeletal arrangement of any theropod in existence. The horn attack, meanwhile, could be devastating with just a single hit, even if it does require getting in much closer and risking a brawl, something that Ceratops is built to withstand. The armored Titan can serve as a fantastic guardian, using its height and reach to cover teammates and even keep multiple 2.0 at bay. However, for its quick kill capacity against an individual opponent in both this competition and for those 2.0 that might get past its armored comrade, Ceratops proceeds on in the competition with its titanic compatriot kept on call. Matchup number 3, Atherotitan Christus versus Yamabrontorax. This would be a clash of titans if these two had come to blows against each other instead of their common fight against an individual opponent in both this competition and for those 2.0 that might get past its armored comrade, Ceratops proceeds on in the competition with its titanic compatriot kept on call.
I just remembered, I was just thinking a bit too much, and I just forgot to talk that the Carano just went through. Very nice. I feel like that was a bit too less hyped. I was just deep in my thoughts. Okay, Yama, please.
Matchup number 3, Atherotitan Christus versus Yamabrontorax. This would be a clash of titans if these two had come to blows against each other instead of their common foe. Instead, this competition involving one hybrid composed of one of the most powerful sauropods that ever lived and another built upon the strongest known hadrosaur of all time comes down to the smaller details. Yamabrontorax does have plenty of assets to call upon that make it a fantastic brawler, more than strong enough to endure hit after hit and give back twofold. It can thrash, stomp, swat, bite, or crush with all of the weapons across its body. Its companion, the Atherotitan, stomps into the arena with very similar armor and spines, leveraged by sheer brute force to a mind-boggling degree. Neither of these two are large enough to handily overpower a 2.0 in a direct confrontation. If the carnivorous hybrid attempts to take them on head-on, Atherotitan would be much easier to inflict than its comrade. However, it is also substantially harder to critically wound. Gilgamesh has suitably legendary defense, with the only vulnerable points in the underside of the throat, where the armor isn't as thick as it would be elsewhere. Attacking this, though, requires getting into the potential death zone that is its forearms and jaws. Gilgamesh would be able to win the fight much quicker thanks.
Oh my god, that is just hilarious. It's just biting on the neck. That is funny.
Its higher reactivity and agility, helping it land more hits more consistently and earlier on into the fight. Atherotitan, meanwhile, trades a lot of that finesse for sheer force that could potentially end the fight in one hit. This one was extremely close, and Atherotitan is unique in that it is one of the only contestants that could conceivably fight multiple 2.0s at the same time and have a good shot at winning. What tilts the odds, however, is stamina. Gilgamesh arguably would get the win quicker in times where its titanic counterpart couldn't get that opening hit. When the fight drags on, however, things are going to literally heat up for the contestants, given how much force and energy they would be exerting. And because Atherotitan is so gigantic and so heavily armored,
I
dissipating
just remember there are 3 sauropods in this. That it's just too OP, man. But a sauropod and ankylosaur and some sort of velociraptor for the head or something. I don't know. And you just got the perfect recipe of killing. My phone tilted.
All that heat is going to be taxed. Even with sauropods having been specifically evolved for that function to help dissipate the heat, biology has its limits. There is a good reason why sauropods never evolved to have this much armor. One of them is that, well, they didn't need this much. Sheer size was enough to weather the storm, and in turn, the exposed, in this case unarmored body parts, allowed heat to escape much easier than if it were encapsulated in thick hide and armor. If the fight turns into a slugfest, Gilgamesh having a smaller body size but also still plenty of surface area to fend off the building temperatures means it can stay in the fight longer by avoiding heat stress, whereas the heavily armored longneck would have a harder time dissipating heat than its more natural, less armored counterparts. All of that bony armor is going to insulate it and start increasing the temperature the longer the fight goes. Both of these are well armored, and initially it's easy to think that Atherotitan might finish the fight in better health. However, in this specific case, any attempt from the 2.0 to attack the weak spots of Gilgamesh puts herself at risk of being killed, but quicker, not giving enough time for the 2.0 to inflict significant wounds. This was the definitive factor. Adding stamina to the equation, Gilgamesh will be able to go the distance just that much more. Gilgamesh proceeds on to take the front lines, while Atherotitan can be called in for heavy weapons. Matchup number 4, Armatus Gigantus versus Monstro-Therium Brutalis. Closing up our competition is the mightiest mammalian hybrid, contrasted with a compatriot that is
I want Monstro-Therium.
superb in its simplicity. Armatus Gigantus is chiefly patterned after arguably the most powerful land animal to ever exist, with some extra add-ons. Monstro-Therium Brutalis
But this is definitely the most realistic sauropod that could have ever took place. Because sauropods did have osteoderms, albeit very less, they still had. And it was not on the underside, it was on the top. So, most realistic is definitely armored
well,
titan.
is an unnatural gestalt that looks more like an ogre or beast of myth with a myriad of natural weapons that are simple but effective. Both of these do have the raw power to put the 2.0 down to the count, but one of them would do much better in a specific environment, whereas the other is more generalized. Outside of being in a very cramped forest or swamp that would bog it down and reduce its ability to leverage its great reach, Armatus would be able to make contact with its opponents at times even before or while the 2.0 could manage to bounce. While it isn't as heavily armored as other sauropods, being over 80 tons still makes it way larger than it needs to be to win a strength contest. A sauropod half its weight would be able to reliably triumph over a much lighter opponent, and that sheer bulk does mean even the areas that aren't as heavily armored still have plenty of padding and protection. What armor it does have will keep it in the game, even if the 2.0 manages to climb on top of it to try and attack the exposed back, making it easier to shake off the endom and protect its neck. And
Something that I could see a sauropod that I would like is like giving it a good enough amount of weaponry and armor, and then its teeth or its jaw is like a velociraptor. Because like real life velociraptors, which are like slender jaws, but it's just a bit bigger, and then their claws would just slice, and of course they'll have a Shunosaur tail. That's just great, you know. What's gonna kill that thing?
the fight is on the ground. It only takes one solid swing with over a dozen meters of reach and multiple tons of mass behind it to be a game over for a 2.0 caught in that position.
Kill him.
Monstro-Therium, meanwhile, is a brawler with the best of them. But unlike its opponent, it
Kill
lacks the
him
ability
as
to
well.
quickly and reliably kill in one single blow if the fight came down to that. Health-wise, Monstro is clad in armor to protect it from several blows. However, being evaluated against a sauropod who can throw its weight around a lot easier means that a more heavily armored herbivore like Armatus would stack more wins in less time. The angry green Goliath that is Brutalis would be a much-needed asset in clearing out 2.0 incursions in the very biomes Armatus would struggle in. Denser forests and bogs would also give it the advantage in being able to rip up trees to use as weapons thanks to its dexterous arms, especially in a swampy environment where the water and mud would even out the playing field with speed. This armored ogre would be an ideal choice. But as for taking on the 2.0 head-to-head in the open, Armatus marches forward on rumbling earth. Next time in the Greek hybrid war, the
Okay, I
final
can take that. Out of 3, it's just 1. I'm fine.
4. Caranoceratops, Pheropelta, Yamabrontorax, and Armatus Gigantus will face their final tests to reveal who will be the winner of the first hybrid war. Only one hybrid will take the crown and the honor to face the Pale Menace and become the champion.
So, yeah, that's Emily's step. So, wait. Who's going against 2 in the final?
Caranoceratops, Pheropelta, Yamabrontorax, and Armatus Gigantus.
I'm gonna say it's vertical, and that means it's Ceratopsian against Ceratopsian. That's gonna be hard, but I'm going for Carano. And the right side, I want Yamabrontorax. And then the last matchup, I would like to be like the number 1 winner could be Carano. I really want Carano, okay?
Will face their final tests to reveal who will be the winner of the first hybrid war. Only one hybrid will take the crown and the honor to face the Pale Menace and become the champion.
Yeah. So yeah, that is me signing off. Goodbye.